Testing. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our live stream today. Thank you so much for joining me during your lunch break. My apologies for the late start. We were having some technical difficulties. I hope everyone can hear me. Today's lunch talk actually came from a random Instagram post that I had, and somebody left me a really great comment. So I thought I'd expand on it. So this is what I was talking about in the Instagram post. I was saying that I so respect my brain and how it's wired because my brain is just this beautiful machine and it works in a very specific way. And I've learned early on to just appreciate my brain for what it is and not force it to be anything other than what it actually is. And so I think it's really interesting because sometimes we get into this space where we start to compare our brain and say, like, oh, why don't I think like that? Why don't I operate like this? And it can be a very dangerous thing to do to ourselves. And so I am a big believer of hacks. So everyone always kind of makes fun of me in my life that I'm always like, oh, there's a hack for everything. I sincerely believe that there's a hack for everything. And so I have learned to hack my brain, meaning create hacks and systems that support the unique way that my mind works. And so because I'm a creative person, I have to hack my life in a creative way to support the type of brain that I have. And so this kind of came to mind because I was talking to my mom the other day and she had this idea and she just wanted to try it out. But um, my immediate thought to hearing her idea was like, oh, we should definitely make a project plan for this idea. And so it's weird because I am oddly creative, but also quite organized. And that shows up in the way that I just approach many things. And so today, that's what our lunchtime session is about. It's a mini session with me. I didn't even introduce myself. So let me do that right now. My name is Timmy Como, and I am the co founder of a life consultancy practice called The Pivot Strategists. And we are coaches and consultants and strategists, and we're here to help people pivot into whatever next chapter they have of their life. So whether that is a career pivot or a life pivot, or even a relational pivot, we're here to help you navigate that. So that's a little bit about us. You can find out more about us at the website, which is www.timmycomo.com/coach. You can find out all about that. So I now want to pivot into the actual session so we can get right along with that. So there's the website there, www.com www.timmycomo.com/coach. All right, so now moving on. Oh, I'm so excited. This is like one of my favorite topics, and I talk about it casually. This is the first time I'm actually going to get to do a whole presentation. So, this is a pivot strategist session. And if you're in the comments after the live stream, but you're there for the replay, please feel free to leave the comments anyway. I will still see them. We are, yay, Christopher, thanks for joining. Yay, so excited. Please share with your friends. It's a nice lunchtime chat. It won't take too long, but I hope it will be interactive. Let me pin Christopher's comment so you can see that there are real people here. Yay. Okay, so how to hack your brain. And so this is one of my favorite things to talk about. And a little bit about myself. Like I said, my name is Timmy Como, founder of Pivot Strategist. I have the hack system that I created for my brain and for yours as well. It's called the Pivot System. It includes two different books, the Pivot Journal and the Pivot Planner. I'll share a little bit about that at the end. So here's the first one. How do you hack your brain? First thing I want you to do is I want you to study yourself. This means appreciating your unique wiring. Your unique wiring. There is nobody on earth that is quite like you, and nobody thinks about the world and sees the world like you do. Right? Gone are the days when we say, this is the only way to view a problem. This is the only perspective that is valuable. Instead, I want you to start looking at yourself in the mirror. And I want you to embrace that inner quirky part that you have. So, those quirks that you have, the unique way that you show up in the world, I want you to ask yourself, are there things that you do that may be odd to others, but somehow make sense for you? I first learned this from my dad. So my dad is a creature of habit. Like That is him to a T. And my dad must put things in the same place every time. Otherwise, he will lose it. He just won't know where it is. So my dad is a creature of habit. He will place his comb in the same place. He will place his shoes in the same place because that's just the way his mind works. That's just his system way of doing things. For me, I'm the same way in that I'm a creature of habit. I like to eat the same thing. I like to go and do things the same way all the time because, like, some part of the routine stabilizes me. There are other parts of my life that I don't mind being random. I actually welcome the randomness, but my morning routines, at least those parts, like my morning walk, those sorts of things, are parts of my quirks. I'm really into sustainability. So there's a certain way that I like things to be. So it's not to say that I'm inflexible. It's just I have some quirky pieces of myself that friends and family have been like, that's kind of weird. I don't do things that way. So I want you to start collecting a running list of these things that are quirky to you, maybe set you apart from other people. And I don't want you to shame yourself. I want you to appreciate these things about yourself. Okay. Um, Over time, as you're observing yourself, you're going to start noticing a few themes. I'm going to pop in here a few of my results. As a coach, I use a tool that I absolutely love. I use this tool with my clients, and it's a tool called the Harrison Assessment. And there are lots of strength assessments out there. Common ones are Myers-Briggs, Strengths Finders. There's a Harrison Assessment, Enneagram, things like that. But for the sake of our lunchtime talk today, I'll focus on the Harrison Assessment, which is my primary tool that I use. So over time, you start to observe recurring themes in your life that point you to your values and things that you find as areas of strength. So for me, here are my life themes. This is straight from my Harrison Assessment results. So I'm being very vulnerable with you all, sharing these parts of myself. But I think for the sake of example, it will be helpful. So for me, my life themes are that I take initiative, I am cause motivated, I'm enthusiastic, I'm outgoing, and I'm experimenting, right? Y'all don't even know me. You just got on this video call, this video session with me, and you can already tell I'm pretty enthusiastic. You could probably pretty much tell I'm outgoing and experimenting, right? I wanted to talk about this thing, but I wanted to try out a way of doing it. So I said, let me get on live and let me talk through it, right? I love to take initiative. If something is cause motivated, I'm most likely going to do this. What does this do for me, knowing this information about myself? What do you think this does for you? If you are someone who studies yourself well enough to know your themes, your values, your area of strengths, you're most likely going to pick opportunities that align with those things, right? So for me, right? If I find that there is something that just requires me to lay back and just like have things just go randomly and like, okay, we'll see how it goes. And I don't have an opportunity to take leadership. I don't have opportunity to be cause motivated. I'm most likely not going to be super fulfilled, right? Even for me, I said earlier, I like a routine in certain parts of my day, but for the rest of it, I'm always trying out new things. My cousin is always laughing at me because she's like, "You just tried out this new recipe, but you don't have any instructions. You just like threw things in the mixer." Like, yeah, that's how I operate. Other than my routines, I love to experiment. Right. So I want you to start thinking about these things. You're trying to build a case for who you are in your mind, right? Trying to know yourself a little bit better. Next thing I want you to do is I want you to find your superpower. In my coaching practice, we call this the zones of genius, the areas that you just naturally have an affinity or a preference, places where you really just thrive, right? I want you to find your superpowers, your zones of genius. So every one of us has a particular set of skills. These are things that come naturally to us. They come pretty easily to us. I remember when I was in college, a bunch of my friends were pre-med, and I was taking some family sciences class, and one of my pre-med friends was with me, and she was taking the class and struggling. In my mind, I was like, this girl's a genius. Why is she finding this class so hard? And why is it so easy for me? It was then that I realized something that my good friend says a lot. Just because something comes easily to you does not mean it's easy. In fact, it might be easy for you. It might be within your zone of genius, but it might be something that is incredibly hard to somebody else. Right. And so I want you to start studying your zones of genius for the sake of example. Oh, thank you so much. I got a great comment here. Oh, thank you guys for watching. Thank y'all. I should say more inclusive. Yay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. So, here's an example of my own zones of genius. And I'm not making this up, y'all. This is straight from my Harrison assessment. My zones of genius are public speaking, teaching, and being organized. Y'all just met me, right? But can you not already tell this? Public speaking, here I am talking in front of a bunch of strangers. I love it. I thrive here. It's my zone that I really just have such a good time. Teaching, here I am teaching you something that I know and live in my own experience. I'm sharing knowledge with you. I'm educating people. I'm also a former middle school teacher, so it shows up, right? And then organize. I tend to be pretty organized. I put my thoughts together in a way that I can share them with other people, right? So these are my zones of genius. I want you to start thinking what comes easily to you, what comes naturally to you, what can you do just waking up? You don't have to do much prep, you can do it in your sleep. That is your zone of genius, right? So I want you to start exploring that for yourself. It's different for everyone. And don't assume that just because something is within your zone of genius, that it's something that is easy for everyone else. Do not take your zone of genius or your superpowers for granted. Here's another one. There's another awesome report that is part of the Harrison assessment that I give to clients, and it gives you your greatest strengths. So this is my top 6, my greatest strengths. And let me pause for a second. Let me time out. It can be really hard to reflect because sometimes you might feel like you're bragging. You might feel like, oh man, maybe I just think I'm better than I actually am. The thing I love about assessments is that it's an objective way of looking at yourself. It's not you pumping yourself up, it's science. It's science. So, this is me just sharing my report. I'm not trying to say how great I am. It's me sharing my strengths and being self aware, right? So, here's my first strength. I make thoughtful conclusions. I make thoughtful conclusions. I look at all the evidence available and I put 1 and 2 together and I just come up with, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is what I conclude about the matter, right? It's not saying I'm a genius, but I tend to come up with thoughtful conclusions. I can be logical. Here's my second strength, logically solving problems. I like to look at things going on. I'm like, how do I fix this? Doesn't it make sense that I have a coaching and consulting company called the Pivot Strategist? We're always trying to strategize, right? With logic, not just going by emotion. And then third, continuously improving. That's one of my strengths. Does it not make sense that I am a life coach? I'm constantly improving for myself and I want the same for my clients. Number 4, my other strength is striving for achievements everywhere in my life. I'm always trying to do that. Number 5, being adaptive and organized. There's that organized again, right? Number 6, keeping a positive outlook. Since we started this live, this smile has not left my face. I'm pretty positive for the most part, but I'm also really excited to be here with you all. So that's another part. And it's Friday, so there are many great things going on, right? So these are some of my greatest strengths. Even without the assessment, I hope you would take a session with me and we can explore your greatest strengths in a session. But if you don't, I want you to still do this reflection by yourself. What are your greatest strengths? What are you just naturally good at? What's in your zone of genius? What is your superpower, right? Okay, next, I want you to cultivate a conducive environment where you will thrive the best. Okay, so I always say this that as human beings, we are like houseplants. I want to say that we're very sophisticated beings, but at the end of the day, we need water, sunlight, and good food, right? Right? We need those things at our core, right? And so if we know that those are parts of our core, we want to make sure that we're creating an environment where we can actually live and we can thrive. That's the very basics, right? As a human being. But I want you to think about even more than that. What do you actually need to thrive? So, this is a pause moment for you to reflect. When was the last time you felt like you were truly thriving at work and in life? I want you to ask yourself, in those times when you were thriving, what were you doing? What was the environment like? Right? I want you to think about all of those things. So I will go back to one of my favorite workplaces. I used to work at a university. I love universities. There's a different energy there. You meet so many brilliant people who have come to the university for so many things. I loved that space. Why was I thriving? Well, number one, I had community. I was around other people who were different from me and so exciting and so smart, had so many great ideas. That's one. The environment was open. I could explore. I literally, during my lunch break, would walk around campus just to see what was going on campus on any given day. There was so much. I had my routines in the morning, but throughout the rest of the day, I could experiment. I could take classes as a staff member. I could teach classes. I loved it. I was living my best life. Right. So for you, I want you to go back, not to say, oh, I wish I was there, but think about what were the elements of that period of your life that made you to thrive. And what you can do with that is that you can capture some of those elements and say, how do I integrate these elements in other parts of my life in the future? If I know I love being around diverse groups of people, how do I do that? Do I join a club? If I know I like being outdoors and I just tend to function better, do that. That could be you just integrating a morning walk into your day where you see people, especially if you're a work from home type of person, but you love being with other people. Maybe a work from home job is not for you. If you're the type of person who your morning commute drives you up the wall, maybe you're someone who would be a work from home person. So, all of these things, I want you to realize that nothing in your life is permanent, right? Nothing in your life is permanent. So, you can always tweak your environment to make sure it's something that is conducive to who you are as a person. Okay. All right. So once, remember, you've studied yourself and you know your unique wiring, you know your preferences. So I want you to not ignore or forsake your preferences or your unique wiring. Now that you know these things about yourself, don't ignore it. Don't take it for granted. So once again, going back to my Harrison assessment, here's another part of the assessment. I'm telling you, the reports of this assessment comes up with are amazing, right? So here's a part of the report that explores my work environment preferences. Here are two of my preferences. I love public contact. I love being with the, well, oh, I even said it earlier, right? Being with a wide range of people who are representative of general society. I love the diversity of the world. I love being in public contact with people. Secondly, I prefer to work in teams. I don't really love being siloed and doing things individually. I enjoy collaborating, coming up with ideas. I never want to be the smartest person in the room. I feel like I can learn so much from other people. So that's my workplace preferences. I know these things about myself. So I'm going to embrace opportunities that speak to my unique preferences and my unique wiring, right? And then lastly, on this page here, are behavioral competencies. This is the type of work where I am the most competent. It's important to know these things about yourself. I always say this to my clients. My clients are some of the smartest people that I've met, right? And they're smart. Just because they're smart and capable doesn't mean that these are things where they would actually enjoy it, right? So your competency is taking the things that you're good at and the things that you prefer and bringing them together. So here are a few of my competencies. My number one competency is coaching. I love this report. It's so funny. And I am literally a life coach. It's my number one competency. Secondly, I'm people oriented. I love working with people, providing direction. I love leading. And in strategy, when we're doing the pivot strategist work, I get to work with you to say, okay, what direction do you want to take? What comes next, right? And then organizational compatibility. Like I said, I work really well with teams and I love cooperating with others. And then lastly, does not need structure. I'm very competent when you leave me alone and you leave me to make my own structure. Does it not make sense that I'm an entrepreneur, that I have my own business, right? That I have a company where I am able to create the structure myself? All of these things. I know these things about myself. You too. You know certain things about yourself, which will lead you to create a composite in your mind. What are the preferences that I have? What is the unique wiring that I have? You're starting to take shape what it is that you need to do in order to create a hack, a system that your brain will really thrive in, right? So we're getting there. We're getting there. Excuse me. All right. And now I want you to make a system. A system is a mental shortcut to hack your brain for efficiency. Y'all, help your brain out. Some of y'all's brains are on overload, right? If your mom's out there or parents out there and grandparents out there, right, and you're holding information, for example, if you are the parent who holds everyone's social security number in your mind, I'm so sorry. If you're holding a bajillion passwords in your mind, y'all, help your brain out. Help your brain out. How do you help your brain out? Create a system. A system is a second brain that can help you take something off of the top of your mind and put it somewhere else so that you're able to access it later. Everyone's second brain is different and it depends on what you're wired to do. Remember, your wiring is really important. If you're a creative, you might be someone whose second brain option just so happens to be sketching. You might like to draw. I remember I said I used to be a middle school teacher, and I would have students that I would be teaching math concepts, and they would be doodling on the side of their page. They would turn in actual exams with doodles on it, and because when they were studying, the doodles were helping them to retain information and to remember how to do things. Even me, I'm a singer. And so whenever I'm learning complicated musical parts, I will literally draw out how it goes. Because with words, I can't explain this note goes like this. If I'm trying to, I should probably learn how to read music, right? But I have a drawing shortcut that I use to remember how notes go, right? I know the number system, but sometimes the drawing is helpful as well, right? Your second brain might be that you love to write. I am a huge journaler. I used to go through so many journals. This is a little hack for you. I used to go through so many journals and it was so expensive that I switched to the handy dandy composition notebook. These notebooks, y'all, please save yourself some money. I love it because it's uniform. They pretty much look the same. I have composition notebooks in every color, but back to school season, they are on sale. You're welcome. So you can stock up on journals for the future. So yes, if you're a big writer, get a good notebook that you can write your thoughts, and it doesn't have to be super organized. Just take it from your brain and put it on your second brain. Digital apps, that's another option, that the one that I actually love the most. There are some amazing what I call second brain digital apps out there. There is Notion, there is Trello, there is Monday.com, Smart Sheets, all of these different ones where you take the information that you have up here and you put it on a digital platform. So I was talking to two of my clients the other day. And this is amazing because we had a pivot strategist session and we were doing their greatest strengths report. They happened to be a couple, and we were comparing the different ways that they process information. And so it was a husband and wife couple, like I said, and the wife says, whenever I'm putting together a system, the system is for me so that I remember how to do this project or this process in the future, right? So she was making the personal system for her. The husband says, whenever I do something, I do it so that other people can replicate my steps in the future. So that's even a difference in the way that people use the second brain system. So the wife happens to be a writer type of second brain person. So she has this epic I'm laughing because I'm visualizing it. She has this epic notebook, and the notebook has literally special dates, special assign, and there's a code for it, to the point where if someone picked up this notebook, they would never know what this notebook was talking about because it has special numbers and the numbers with the month. It is a system that only she understands, but it helps take the load off her brain, right? The husband, on the other hand, is a person who is creating systems so that other people can follow it. That is something that would be helpful with the digital app. So for example, when I had teams and they were working with me for other projects, I needed to be able to tell them what the process was so they could replicate it. So I used something like Trello. Trello was really good. I could add my team members on there. I could tag them. I can alert them to different things going on. Monday.com is really great for this. Smart Sheets is really great for this. So project management. Usually people use this for their jobs, but this is really great for personal projects as well. So remember, I'm a super organized person. When my former roommate was getting married, we planned her 6-month wedding in a Trello board. And we went through all the different things, who are the caterers, what are the timelines and things like that. So if you're a person who needs a second brain option that is digital, there's so many great ones. If we have time at the end, I will show you my Notion template that I created, and it's available for free. I'll share it with you because it's just such an amazing tool. And I created my own version that fits with my pivot planner, and I'll show you later. So yes, use a second brain option, please, please, please. Right? So in summary, oops, the title should say how to hack your brain. How to hack your brain. Number one, study yourself. Find your superpowers. Create a conducive environment for your unique wiring to thrive. And then lastly, make a system. Make a system. Okay. All right. So I'm going to pause for a moment because I'm about to show you, we have a little bit of time. Wow. I'm so excited about this topic. And I'm so, so grateful that you all have decided to join and come along as we're talking about hacking your brain, right? It sounds very gory now that I think about it, but I'm talking about these systems. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to share my screen in just a moment. I'm going to show you, oh, I'm so excited, my Notion template that I use to hack my brain. So let me show you. Okay. So you should be seeing right now my Notion board. So Notion is a way of taking all of your ideas and putting them into one space. I love Notion because Notion lets you be as creative as you want to be. Remember, I said creativity is a huge thing for me. I'm very organized and very creative at the same time. So here is my Notion board. And I'm going to actually fill out this Notion board as though I was doing any given week. So let me explain to you how it works. I have a really helpful area here that says how to use this page. And this weekly agenda helps you focus on what really matters throughout your week. With your 3 big goals as the focus, you can ensure that your activities actually lead to you accomplishing your goals. And along the way, you'll make time for gratitude and thoughtful reflection. So let me pause for a moment. Why am I doing it this way? Why am I doing it this way? I think it's really important for you to know this about yourself, right? If you give yourself too many goals, this is for most people. If you give yourself too many goals, you end up having goal fatigue. You end up not actually accomplishing the goals that you set out to do because there are too many. So I always like the big 3. It's my favorite thing. The big 3 is your top 3 goals that you want to accomplish on any given day, right? So here are the big 3 right here. You would just write out what those are. Maybe your first big goal is to drink more water, right? Drink more water throughout the day. Maybe your next big goal is that you want to make sure that you read a book every night. Your next goal could be that you want to maybe complete an assignment or complete a project that you're working on. You put just one step of that project on here, right? In my Notion board, you can actually have check boxes that you can check off as soon as you accomplish that goal, right? And then I also have, for each of the given days, there's a 3 things section for each of the days. You should be, here's the thing to note, right? With your 3 goals in mind, these 3 goals should be leading you to some success at the top of your at the bottom of your week, right? But the 3 things that you do each day, you have your 3 goals in mind. It might be that you only address one goal on any given day. You might be addressing all 3. It's up to you. And so I have these cute little icons. Usually this computer is maybe something that you might want to do electronically. I use this icon if I have a Zoom meeting or something where I have to be in front of the camera. It's something electronic. I use this calendar if I have a special date that I want to make sure I have an appointment on my calendar. I use this inbox looking thing to say, is there a project that needs to be completed? And then on any given day, I want to make sure I'm making time for gratitude. I want to make sure I'm making time for exercise and some kind of good habit that I'm trying to do. So remember, if one of the things is that, oh, I want to make sure I read a page of a book or a couple pages, I want to make sure that's a good habit that I'm achieving every single day, that there's exercise. No, I didn't say what the exercise was going to be. It could be doing a walk, it could be a fitness routine, it could be going to the gym. All those things you will do on any given day, right? You do that on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right? So Sunday and Saturday, I'm a person who does observe the Sabbath. So I actually make sure that these dates are a little lighter. I give myself leeway. So on Saturday, I might not even do my three things. On Sunday, I might not even give myself the three things to do because I might be giving myself the week off, right? Okay. And so then after that, at the end of every week, you have your reflection. Your reflection is a time to ask yourself these three questions. What is the one sentence that I would use to describe my week? Right? So, for example, this week has been a great time of connecting with powerful people in my life. So that's my sentence. What was your highlight of the week? Right? What was your highlight of the week? My highlight was a friend of mine sent me a really great gift that I did not expect. It's not even my birthday, but she sent me a gift at the top of the week, and I was so, so grateful for her. Right. And then one thing that you will adjust for the future. You want to reflect. You have this whole week that you will look at and you'll say, huh, I noticed that I didn't do my good habit every day. Then you start to reflect, what do I adjust in order to make myself more impactful, more efficient, more effective next time? Right? Or you notice, like, oh, I didn't do my exercise, or I noticed that I struggled to find things to be grateful for. Okay, if that's the case, what do I do to improve my habit of gratitude? Right? So, all of these things, why is it helpful? Because most of the time, you have those things on your mind, and you usually don't have them readily available to you. Right? Sometimes you might struggle and you might think to yourself, like, man, how do I recall all these things that happen in my week? Oh, thank you, Cherise. Thank you so much. Cherise says, thank you. Love this. Thank you for sharing. I'm so glad that you're here. Amazing. And so, yes, you might be thinking to yourself, like, oh, how do I keep track of all these things going on? Do not keep it in your mind. That's too much strain on your brain. Remember what I said? Help your brain out. I said that. I said that. I said that, right? You got to help your brain out in any way that you can. So, this is just one example. I'll add this to the stream. Help your brain out. This is just one example of the many tools that are out there. I really want you all to be successful. So at the end of this live, I'll make sure on my LinkedIn page, I actually share that link to the Notion page. So that particular Notion page, I've made it free and available to you. If you liked what you saw, feel free to replicate that and you can use it on your own. Notion is free. It's limited on some of the plans that they have, but it is free. I do think they have a student plan as well, which is amazing. So if you're affiliated with a school of any sort, I think if you're an educator or if you're a student, you can get that for free. So help your brain out. Okay. And lastly, y'all, I've been talking about this for quite some time. Funny enough, what you just saw was the my I just get so excited talking about all these things. I'm nerding out. So thank you for bearing with me. So what you just saw on my Notion page was actually me replicating what is inside my pivot planner and my pivot journals. I replicated it on Notion because I wanted to be able to use my personal system and I wanted to be able to use it like that. So what you're looking at is my systems of planning, right? I have hacked my brain because I needed a way to be efficient and productive and creative over time. And so I've created an entire system that will help me do this. So this system includes my pivot journal and my pivot planner. My pivot planner is actually available in two languages. It is in English and it is in Spanish. I'm really proud of that. I am big on access for people. I want people to be able to access it and I want them to be able to have systems to help them be productive. So a team partnered with me last year to translate my pivot journal into Spanish. And actually, it's being used in a coaching program in Costa Rica. And so all the coaches have a copy of Mi Diario Pivote Personal, and they use it for their practice. And so I'm so, so grateful for that. That is amazing to me. And then there's also my pivot planner, which is my newest book. It's the one that I love the most. You shouldn't have a favorite child, but I have a favorite planner, pivot system book, and it is the pivot planner. And the pivot planner, like I said, is what you just saw on Notion. That is available. It's such, let me see if I can pull up the page on my website. So my website is www.timmycomo.com/pivot. So let me pause for a moment and pull up the website so you can see it. But my pivot planner is one of my favorite tools because it is a way for you to just really be serious about your goals. I think sometimes, especially at the beginning of the year, we're like, oh, we want to do all these great things. And we don't actually have a real plan for making it happen. Right. So, I love that you can actually go to my website, and my website will lead you to my pivot planner. Okay, I just pulled it up on my website. So let me pause my share for a moment. Do 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 do. Stop my screen share. Oh, I'm so excited that you all chose to spend your lunch break with me. I'm incredibly moved by that. So thank you. Okay, so I'm about to show you my website in case you're wondering what I'm talking about here. And I want to give you an opportunity to actually purchase these journals and planners so that you can have it for yourself. So here is my website. Like I said, timmycomo.com. There's actually a specific page for the pivot planner, which is timmycomo.com/pivot planner. On it, there's a whole introduction video up here, and then a little intro about the pivot planner. It's your guide through transitional periods of your life. And I actually have some sample pages here. If you're curious about what it looks like on the inside, I have some daily pages because when I was a teacher, I struggled for daily planning. I really wanted something that would let me hourly plan for my days. So I made this with actually teachers in mind. And the day starts at 6 a.m. and it ends at 10 p.m. On the left-hand side, you have your priorities for the day. And then, like I said, in the Notion page, you have your 3 big goals. You have an area for your tasks, and then room to pivot any adjustments that you want to make for your next day. And then gratitude at the bottom there. At the top, I wanted it to be undated. So this is a planner that you can pick up at any time. Notice you can just circle whatever month it is and then whatever date it is. And so this is a journal that you can use for all time. I know teachers right now are on summer vacation. Hooray. They deserve it. They work very hard. So that's the daily pages that is there. And then there is also the weekly pages that are available as well. So the weekly page looks like this. It's a little more stripped down. You still have your big 3 goals of the day. You have your habits for each of the days. You have your space for gratitude as well. Okay, so that is there. I want to show you one last thing. If you decide that you want to do the digital, I'm so excited. This is so ridiculous how excited I am to talk about my pivot planner and my pivot journals. I hope you just bear with me. Okay, so here's one last thing I'll show you before I leave you all. There's a digital version of my pivot planner, and you can get that on my Gumroads page. It's all there on my pivot planner page. So Gumroads is a way that you can get a digital version of this. It's digital and it's fillable, and it's available online. It's only $20, but this has the entire pivot strategy workbook. You can do your self audit, vision setting, all of your trackers. It also includes all of the undated monthly, weekly, daily planners, and space for a notebook. It's like a really pretty dotted notebook here. And so the great thing about this is I thought about people and what they would need, and I created this really with myself in mind, and then thinking about whoever else might need it. So my pivot planner trackers, there's actually a fillable version of it where you can fill it out on a PDF. There's also a Google Sheet version where you can type in your things. So if you are a digital person, remember, we're creating your digital brain, your second brain. There's so many ways to do that. Okay. I'm done nerding out on my products here because it's just a ridiculous amount of pride that I have for um, just the ability to do this. I thank God that I've had all my experiences as a former educator. It really influenced my desire to create a system that would help people function at their greatest capacity in their zone of genius. So, thank you all so much. I'm going to put down here the website for my actual pivot planner, which I probably talked the most about today. So it's actually www.timmycomo.com/pivot planner. If you want to see all of them, slash pivot will get you there, but pivot planner is specifically the planner. So thank you all so much for joining the session today. Remember, your brain is a beautiful machine and it deserves your respect, and it reserves a system to help it out a little bit. I recommend my system. My system is the Pivot System. And all of the books, like I said, are available for purchase on Amazon if you want a physical copy. Some people, let me see if I have a copy of it. Oh, I gave away all of my copies. Yeah. If you're a person who likes a hard copy, they're available on Amazon. I want to also say this out loud because I believe it's going to happen in the future. I have a goal of getting my pivot planners, my pivot journals into schools all across the US. I want to see them in university campuses because I used to work at a university. Because I was in grad school, I knew how important it was to be organized. And I want to make sure this is available to people. It is a labor of love, but I think it's a system that actually works. I personally use it via Notion all the time. And I also use it in the digital formats that are available. I wanted to make sure it was something that actually made sense for people. Anyway, thank you all again for visiting and watching the live. One last website I will put for you. If you heard everything I was saying about the Harrison assessment, all of my reports that I showed you, and you're like, oh my gosh, I would like to do my own Harrison assessment. I would love to coach you. I would love to have a Harrison assessment session with you. Please visit my website right here, www.timmycomo.com/coach, and I will see you on the other side. Thank you so much. Signing off from the Pivot Strategist. Thank you for watching. Bye, everyone. Have a phenomenal day. Please share this with your friends. This will be up and available on YouTube, on Instagram, and on Facebook. Thank you all so much. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.